Hey everybody, this is Justin from the Heart Cut, and today we're going to take a look at summer whiskeys. Is there such a thing? We'll talk about that too. So you may wonder, is Scotch, which is what we're going to talk about specifically today, like beer? Are there summer whiskeys, summer scotches, or summer or winter scotches, just like beer? Well, yes and no. Well, I think that obviously when it's hotter outside, there may be some factors to consider, such as how high the alcohol content is and the type of flavors you're going for. At the end of the day, I don't think it matters a whole lot. I think it matters more what time of day you're drinking the scotch and under what circumstances. Now, I'm thinking for these suggestions in terms of in the middle of the day, it's a nice warm day. Maybe you're outside with the family, you're poolside, doing just general activities, right? Or just hanging out in the sunroom. There's a couple of different options here. Now, what you might want to go for is a lighter whiskey with sweeter flavors, more fruity flavors. So one that I think is a really good standout is Auchentoshan 12. So you can also get the Auchentoshan American Oak, which is a different single malt, but this is the 12-year-old one, as you can see. And this is a beautiful light whiskey when you don't want something that's, you know, super complex, that's getting a whole lot. It's triple distilled from the lowlands, so you're gonna get more of those fruity, grassy, floral notes, you know, lemongrass, those types of things. But like I said, it's not complex. It's pretty straightforward. And when you just want something simple and you don't want something challenging, it's perfect. Another option for you would be, if I can find it here, the Glenmorangie 10-year-old. This is a classic that many of you may be familiar with. But in terms of just same thing as the Auchentoshan, this one's a bit fuller bodied, but again, those fruity, grassy notes that are really easy to drink. Along the same lines would be the Glengoyne 10. Very, very similar type of profile. These are from the Highlands, so you definitely get some full-bodiedness as opposed to a lowland, but also very fruity and nice. So, now, I'm not trying to hold myself to any number of whiskeys here because I'm not sure where you live, and depending on where you live, it may be easy or difficult to get certain brands of whiskeys. Therefore, when it comes to single malts, I'm going to just give you a lot of different options. So those three, the Auchentoshan 12, Glenmorangie 10, Glengoyne 10, I'll put those in a very similar category. Another one that may be just a little step up in the richness would be the Benriach 10. Now the Benriach 10 is the matured in bourbon, sherry, and virgin oak. So 3 different casks. 10 years old, but very, very nice. There's some fruity flavors in here. There's some nutty flavors in here. And it's really, really a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. Now, if you want something, if you're like, well, these whiskeys seem a little bit boring to me, and you want something a little bit extra, what can you do? Well, what I would like to start with on the little bit extra train would be the Benriach Smoky 12. Now the Benriach Smoky 12 is beautiful because it has a lot of the same notes as the 10-year-old. However, it's just a little bit different. This one, they added in a Marsala wine cask into the maturation, along with bourbon and sherry. So it's very, very dark, more dark fruits, dark chocolate, but also Smoky 12 is the name, so it actually does have a touch of smoke at the end. So it gives you those nice fruity flavors and then just a little hint of smoke at the end. So now we're talking about sitting by the poolside while you're grilling, perhaps. Enjoying the sun, maybe at a picnic or something like that. Another interesting one that you may not see very often, but I really enjoy is the Kleinlich 14-year-old. This is a beautiful whiskey. These guys are owned by Diageo, and I believe Kleinlich is one of their kind of standard offerings in terms of their set of single malts that they like to highlight. But Kleinlich is very, very nice, very, very nice whiskey. It's, again, it's a bit different than what you may be used to. It's on the coast, and it's a little bit of an interesting flavor profile, but it also has a touch of smoke in there as well. How about nighttime whiskeys? So we might be talking about a nice warm night. Maybe you're around a campfire. Maybe you're around one of those propane fireplaces or fire pits. So what are some of the whiskeys that are really good for those types of situations? Well, for those situations, I definitely want to go a little bit heavier. Most likely this is after dinner, for example. Do a little bit heavier and start adding in some of the peaty and smoky varieties. So let's see what we got here that we can highlight. What I like is kind of a dessert whiskey with some smoke is this Benromic wood finish. This one is the Sassicaia casks. You don't necessarily have to do just this one. I think pretty much any Benromic will do. Their 10-year-old is quite delicious. They have the 10-year-old cask strength. I just don't have that in my collection. But this is actually an amazing whiskey. Berries and cream, some nice soft spices, but also that touch of smoke at the end, which Benromic is famous for. Really, really beautiful whiskey as kind of like a dessert whiskey. Another dessert whiskey that you might want to get into would be GlenDronach. So for you sherry lovers out there, GlenDronach is a classic sherry bomb. The GlenDronach 15 is a good balance between price and value. If you want to spend a little bit more, you can get the 18-year-old and the 21-year-old, which can get kind of pricey depending on where you live, but are also very good. Another good sherry bomb for the price is Glenallachie. They have the 12, they have a cask strength 12. This is the 15-year-old, but again, Glenallachie is an absolutely beautiful whiskey if you like sherry. All those different sherry components are in there, and it's a great as an after dinner kind of dessert type of scotch. All right, so let's go smoky. If you want to go smoky, but still, you know, summertime lighter, not go too crazy with it, I would suggest a Talisker. So this is the Talisker 10, Talisker 10-year-old. I also have the Talisker Storm, which is a good one. Also, I'll put a picture up here because I don't have it with me right now. But the Talisker Distiller's Edition, very, very nice. What I like about these whiskeys, especially the Distiller's Edition, is it has a beautiful like barbecue smoke type of nose to it and flavor. So again, if you're grilling outside, poolside, or sitting around a fire at night, that beautiful smoke is going to give you just that lovely little touch to the end of the evening. And depending on what kind of smoke you like, you could have the barbecue smoke, you could have a campfire type of smoke, and Talisker kind of runs the gamut. If you want it a little bit more refined, we have the Talisker 18, which adds a little bit more of the fruity notes in there, but still very, very beautiful whiskey. As far as outside of that, we of course have a couple of classics here. If you're into Campbelltown, Springbank 15. Again, you know, Campbelltown can be a little bit of a acquired taste, but most people, if you already are really into Islas and peated scotches, then Springbank shouldn't be too far from your taste buds. And Ardbeg Uigeadail would be my final recommendation for a late night whiskey. This one is cask strength. It's at 54, I believe, 54.2. So you can add some water to this too if you don't want it to be too heavy. But again, it's that gorgeous smoke plus sherry that gives you a really nice dessert whiskey at night, especially, like I said, if you're sitting around a fire. A couple of honorable mentions. The Enoch 18, which I'll put a picture up. I don't have right now. I just finished the bottle like a couple weeks ago. But a Knock 18, absolutely beautiful. That's again another sherry whiskey, as well as Highland Park. So if you have a Highland Park 12 or a Highland Park 18, sitting around the propane fire in a fire pit is going to be just chef's kiss for you. So that's my thoughts on the best scotches for summer. And, you know, put your thoughts down below. Or email me, whiskey@justinboyer.me. If you want me to keep doing these types of videos, maybe I can do Irish, maybe I can do bourbons, you know, any of those types of things. But the idea is to kind of open your eyes to a whole bunch of different new varieties that maybe you haven't heard of, and hopefully I've done that for you today. So, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on The Heart Cut.